Hello everybody, welcome to your May Part 2 video scope on the lunar eclipse that's occurring this month. Hi, my name is Jean. I'm a soul coach, an intuitive, and an astrologer. And you can watch exclusive content that I create over on Patreon, where the monthly video scopes are. I've also just completed a video on dreaming because of Jupiter transiting Pisces. And if you haven't watched my Jupiter transits Pisces, that link will be below as well. And I'm always available for sessions. Thank you. Thanks for subscribing. So we now have the first round of Jupiter transiting Pisces until July 28th. So we're going to see a kinder, more compassionate theme expanding now on planet, which is going to be very helpful for this period of recovery. People are just really starting to unpack, in my experience, how traumatizing this past few years have been under the experiences and development of a pandemic. We here in the United States are going through our Pluto return, and we've just had the Saturn conjunct Pluto energy in January 2020, which is still in effect, which is really showing up the decay of institutions, governments around the world, and increasing control energy that we're seeing quite clearly in the field, in the collective field. So I just want to draw that up as a point of clarity and validation that it's helpful to step into this time period with an eye towards, yes, I do have some residual emotional experiences, impacts from this period of time on planet, and what can I do to bring healing and compassion and recovery to myself first and then others. And I say self first because a lot of intuitives, a lot of empaths, in my experience, give away energy that they're not keeping in reserve for themselves. That is not helpful, and that is not an ascended way of living. Giving away. Do not give away that which you don't have in extra supply within your system and your vibration. Jupiter in Pisces can really expand your sense of your dimensional self, dimensional and creative possibilities. We are going through the breaking down of a lot of systems on this planet, which is also traumatic, but on the edge of that, and especially with this great conjunction that occurred back in December at the solstice of 2020, we're in a building stage, just beginning a building stage where there can be quite a renaissance of artistic expression and solutions and problem solving. We live in a digital age where you're being shown data and negative news 24/7. Be aware of that, of the circular thinking and complaining and hysteria. You want to get out of that circle, and you want to reevaluate where you're going to put your attention, because we can't create solutions from the energy that created the problems, you see? So this is about a lot of innate creative solutions and dreaming and imaginings that need to be relieved of that lower density, constant vibrational data coming at you. Be aware of that. Nature, water, the gentler music, creativity, artistry is like balm for your soul now. Bathe yourself in it. Bathe yourself in it. So what we have as we open up to the second half of May is on the 17th, some really lovely energy and empowering time, both with resources and self-confidence, and being able to feel empowered to take action, to handle things, as the sun is trining Pluto on the 17th from 26 degrees of resource and grounded oriented Taurus and 26 degrees of Capricorn. At the same time, Venus in Gemini is conjuncting that north node. So being aware of old patterns of self-righteousness or perhaps belief systems that have run amok or have just reached their level of functionality. Because Venus conjunct that North Node in Gemini is about the curious, is about thinking differently, active listening, pursuing knowledge and data and information and facts, and bringing that in as a sense of value. Venus conjunct that North Node is also through Gemini is the love and vibratory energy that you can experience in discussion with others, in travel, in mobility, in conversations with your neighborhood, your neighbors, your children, etc. And that's occurring at 11 degrees of Gemini, while she is concurrently sextiling Chiron and Aries, the healing energy of personal identity. On the 20th of May, the Sun is joining the party in Gemini. We're moving out of Taurus, a fixed feminine earth sign, which is all about pragmatism and functionality and workable intelligence and intuition, into the mutable sign of Gemini, which can flit here and can flit there and be a social butterfly and eager to learn and take in data and what's that and why are they doing this, and there's a lot of value and pleasure to be found in the day-to-day exchanges and connections. So enjoy that. And the Sun will be transiting through Gemini on the 20th into the next 4 weeks, as it always does. And Venus is making a very balanced, grounded, wise trine to Saturn from Gemini to Aquarius, which is great for conversations and future plans and stable relating and friendships and group dynamics. On the 23rd, Pluto is already retrograde. Now on the 23rd, Saturn is retrograding at 13 degrees of Aquarius until October, when it will station direct at 6 degrees of Aquarius. So we've got a real taste here of what this Aquarian energy is about. When Saturn retrogrades, it's much more of a spiritual time, not an externally focused time, which is helpful to all of us to go within. Regarding our dreams, regarding our commitments, regarding what we would like to choose for a hope and a happy choice for expression and future timelines. Responsibilities with groups, the collective energy usually calms down with Saturn retrogrades until the October time period. So every summer we get a bit of a reprieve from mundane global energy in the form of governments and experiences and situations that are occurring, as we have time now to integrate it, work through it on a personal level, and understand things more deeply within your own life. Now we head into a full moon total lunar eclipse on May 26th at 5 degrees of Sagittarius. This is tied to the new moon solar eclipse back in December. Eclipse patterns are the universe's intelligent way of moving people along in their development and growth, whether they think they're ready or not, whether they think they can handle it or not. And with total lunar eclipses, this is the emptying out of a situation that began back in December. And because it's a total lunar eclipse, what is happening is the Earth is literally between the sun and moon in a straight line. So the Earth is blocking out the solar rays of the sun, which the moon is always the reflective principle, the feminine and receptive and the intuitive principle, emotional in nature, psychic in nature. But the moon is not receiving these reflective rays of the sun, which is about consciousness, because the Earth is sitting right there between them. So, hence, the message of this is don't try and figure everything out right now. Your sense of perception can be clouded or blacked out during this eclipse. It's an outrush of energy, of culminating energy, and you may very well have a handle of where this is given expression in your own chart, depending on what house it's occurring in. But, you know, the total lunar eclipse with this perfect lineup is blocking out the light and the consciousness of the sun, which is a bit of a blackout period for you and your understanding of things. And total lunar eclipses only happen when the moon is really close to the lunar nodes. That's what nodes are. They're mathematical expressions of the lunar process. So this eclipse will be visible from North and South America, from Australia, from Asia, Southeast Asia, West. And the full totality of this eclipse is 14 minutes, although the event occurs over a 5-hour time period. It's exact in the eastern United States at 7:19 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It begins at 4:48 a.m. and lasts until 9:50 a.m. So most parts of the world are going to see aspects of this eclipse. So in the mutable signs, this is also certainly speaking to new possibilities and change and honestly confronting beliefs that you hold that not through any failing on your part, but just don't hold water anymore. And that's a helpful approach to this. And staying in your present mind, in the present moment, and perhaps letting go of or some beliefs that need some reconstruction. The North Node in Gemini is about your ability to zoom in on ideas and connections and data, because with the South Node in Sagittarius, this growth is feeding the cultivation of belief systems, you see? It's like a teeter-totter, and the South Node is right here, and the North Node is seeking, no, let's move it the other way. The North Node is here seeking to bring balance to this overdeveloped South Node in Sagittarius. And as you're bringing information and exploring and wanting to take new content in, it brings balance to that teeter-totter. So let curiosity lead you, but there's often quite fated events that occur with eclipse seasons because it moves us along. So something is concluding for everyone depending on where this eclipse is taking place and where your personal planets are. But the moon conjuncting the South Node in Sagittarius is also seeking truth that can be found in the past. And Mercury is now getting ready to retrograde in Gemini. So this again is a spiritual tuning in on past ideas, people, communications, your inner mind, your higher mind, and clearing out what no longer nourishes you or supports you on your journey. So we've got a very busy destiny-oriented time period here, the second half of May. We've got the new moon solar eclipse next month, the first half of June. So this lunar eclipse is opposing the sun, which is always a full moon. This is a hyper full moon. So the moon in Sagittarius is opposing the sun and that North Node in Gemini. And it is squaring Jupiter in Pisces. So that's interesting. We can expect some exaggerated energy, some narcissistic energy, some self-righteous energy. There's a square to Jupiter. You want to be aware of any tendency of the know-it-all system, know-it-all syndrome, because more will be revealed as we move into the new moon solar and as Mercury retrograde straightens out. Mercury retrograde every summer during eclipses is taking you into your internal life, into the past, reconnecting with people, situations, ideas that perhaps you didn't have the time or the will to connect with and understand further in previous timelines. Mercury retrograde is not the time for signing new contracts, for buying new cars, for example. But the meaning of Mercury retrograde in Gemini is examining your mental narratives too. And I'll tell you this, if you could get into the mind of what many people are thinking on this planet, there's a lot of low vibrational thinking in the way of negative self-talk, judgmental thoughts, competitive thoughts. It's a useful time to get a handle on your inner narratives that could also use some new information and an upgrade as well. So on the 29th of May, Mercury retrogrades in Gemini at 25 degrees. He will station direct on June 22nd at 16 degrees of Gemini. And what's interesting on the 29th is Mercury is retrograding right as Venus is conjunct. Venus continues forward in her direct motion. Mercury waves bye-bye and heads backward for a review. So there's a quality of this time that is about the Venusian principle of inner balance. Remember, Venus is the esoteric ruler of Gemini, which is about balancing out your own mind, your own beliefs, the way you communicate both internally and externally. And then on the 31st of May, Mars is coming in to hug Neptune, because Mars is now transiting through Cancer. So this is really connecting your inner life and security with your spirituality and solitary time and things behind the scenes and recovery time within your home, with family members, with members of choice, sometimes with origin. So there is flow and sensitivity and compassion with this on the 31st. And the sun is now conjuncting that north node in Gemini at 11 degrees, bringing more consciousness from some of the energy and vibration of this full moon lunar eclipse on the 26th. And this will be carried forward into a whole new chapter of external developments on the planet, mundane developments, and in your own life when the new moon solar eclipse occurs the first half of June. Much love to everybody. Happy thinking. Check your narrative. What needs to go as far as low vibrational patterns internally and externally. Take good care.